Alright guys, my name is Marshall Roberts-Payne. I'm a recovering addict and I got my two friends here, Mike.
I'm Michael Rivera. I'm an addict also.
My name is Sue. I'm a recovering alcoholic addict for a year and 9 months now.
Mike, how long you been clean, buddy?
I've been clean for almost 4 months.
Nice. And I also have been clean for coming up on 4 months. Today we're going to be talking about consensual crime a little bit and also kind of your opinions on whether legalization of drugs, how that would make an impact on not only crime but also on addiction in this country as well. I want it to be an open-ended conversation, but I got a couple leading questions so we can kind of stay on topic a little bit. First, if you guys just want to give a background about your addiction and how long you've been using for or whatever.
You want to go first?
I actually had 16 years in recovery and then relapsed. It was basically, one of the big things was that, alcohol was huge no-no.
Right.
And so in order to, because of the stressful situation I was in, I was working as an ER clerk. I started to actually get weed from my friends, found that was a huge stress reliever and a better way to be able to cope, I thought.
Right.
But then when I knew that there was going to be testing coming up, I'd go back to the booze again, and eventually that led me to pills. It didn't lead me to heroin or meth this time, but it's only because it wasn't there when I was around.
Right.
When I was in that condition.
Now, did you ever have any trouble with the law as far as your addiction or anything like that?
I fortunately never did.
Okay.
No DWIs. It was just a matter of being either at the right place at the right time.
Just getting lucky.
Very lucky,
Right.
because I can remember being under, probably doing a few shots and crunching a few Vikes up and driving along thinking I'm fine till I got to my next workplace.
Right.
It's part of the insanity of it, I think.
Absolutely.
So, but, when you had touched on that, one of the things I hear repeatedly is that people aren't allowed to have something that helps them with stress or with grief, whatever it is that they're going through. They're told, you need this instead, or you take this. And because alcohol is legal, that was the best go-to.
That's kind of my argument is like, really, what's the difference between alcohol and other drugs? But I mean, we'll get into that in a sec. I just want to hear a little bit about you, Mike, and any interactions you've had with the law as well.
Okay, well, I'm 45. I've been using since I was 14. It started with marijuana and alcohol. I drank throughout my teen years, and I did have trouble with the law. When I was 16, I went to jail. When I was 17, I went to jail. I still went to college. I was able to graduate high school with a GED and go to college, but when I was 19 again, due to, I'm going to say it was definitely drug and alcohol related, I caught a state bid in New York and went to prison. Kind of learned my lesson, got out. I went throughout my whole life using drugs and alcohol. That was pretty much my solution to stress or whatever. But somewhere in my 30s, I started getting in trouble with the law again because I ended up, instead of just using marijuana, alcohol, I ended up using marijuana, I ended up using cocaine, I ended up smoking crack, and I eventually got hooked on opiates.
Right.
For some surgery I had. So, I was constantly using something in one form or another. And then, I started getting in trouble with the law again. And, I'm 45 now, and I had to go to AA and NA to stay clean and outpatient. Had a lot of, it took a lot for me to get clean and stay clean. And, I've only, even though I've only been clean for a few months, it took a lot.
Absolutely.
Took like everything on the arsenal.
Right.
Because it was like I didn't know how to stop. I didn't know how to, after using it for my entire life.
Thanks for that, Mike. I just it's kind of it seems like an obvious answer to this question, but you guys feel like there's a direct link between crime and drug use? You know what I'm saying? Especially when we look at like heroin addiction and crack cocaine. I mean, it's pretty clear from my experience that the things I would do to obtain that next one is it didn't really matter if it was against the law or not. I would go to any lengths. So I just want to hear from you guys a little bit on that. Do you think drugs and alcohol were the reason why you went to jail, or
You want to go first again, or no?
whatever?
Well, drugs
Just
and
do it in
alcohol
order
never
like that,
sent me
yeah.
to jail per se, but I did kind of live in my own prison because towards the end, after the passing of my son and making my way out here, there was 3 months where I was tormented and bullied by somebody that, basically wanted me around so that he could get his crack cocaine without being followed.
Right.
Also that he could take and have access to it. There was, I hate to say it because I was just this childless mom out here trying to grieve over my son passing, but the guy tried to traffic me out I don't know how many times.
Right.
And my thought is, even from the very beginning, had somebody taken a look at this guy's behavior, I was his 30th arrest in 6 years. There's something the matter with this person, And my thought is, if he was able to just go his own way and resort to things that weren't so violence-inducing, then the violence wouldn't happen.
Right.
I think, was it over in Spain or somewhere, they took and they legalized everything, and the crime rate just went down.
Shot right down.
It just,
'Cause you gotta
Legalize
think
everything in Spain, drug
I
wise.
think it's Portugal. Portugal. I
Portugal, yeah.
believe they legalized all
Is that still like that today?
cocaine. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it, but I
I
think
know
it
when they
is.
Let's stay in the country,
Yeah,
right?
let's
When
stay
they
in the
tried it
country.
about 7-8 years back, I think that there was an uproar. People are like, this isn't going to
Yeah, I
work.
got a million questions for that one. So
Absolutely. We think
I don't-
about alcohol is legal. What's the difference?
I was gonna
between
say, what do you
alcohol
just buy it off the shelf in the
Bourbon
store?
is an
Pretty
all
much,
natural.
and pretty
Bourbon's
much.
an all natural painkiller.
Yeah.
Okay. We just now are they finding out the benefits of CBD plus. But my friend that has glaucoma, she has no more shots in her eye anymore because she smokes weed.
That's the thing. People are gonna get high regardless. People are gonna get drunk regardless if you make it illegal or not. The thing is, look how many people we're putting in prison and jail just because they're addicts. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Just because.
And I think
it's a
we're what, the
disease.
third highest incarcerated?
Yeah.
We're right like
It's
below
unbelievable.
Russia or
It's
something.
unbelievable.
And alcohol is a drug. I mean, you do get addicted to it, and you
Absolutely.
need a detox, or you could seizure out and die.
Yeah.
Same as benzos or whatever.
Yeah.
What was the question again? Are you done?
The other things just speed it up enough.
Yeah.
Would there be a reduction in violent crime and break-ins,
What was the
assaults?
exact question?
Do you believe the legalization of drug use will increase or decrease crime rates? So say that today we
Yeah.
legalize everything.
Do I believe it'll increase or decrease crime? The legalization of drugs. Well, that's a serious question.
Just your gut feeling, man, from your experience.
Is
You
it
know?
going to reduce crime? I'm going to say no.
Okay.
So I'm going to say it's going to make it worse. It's gonna take away, the arresting drug dealers and stuff like that, but then you're gonna have kids / whatever have you doing, people in general using drugs, having substance abuse problems
Yeah.
that are gonna be abusing it. So I'm gonna say that it's not gonna reduce crime. Yeah, I'm gonna say that.
You look at the legalization of weed. I mean, I think that's in California how that's worked out. I mean.
And all the drugs are basically pharmaceutically.
There's a reason.
Yeah. They sell, the pharmacy sells those drugs. So legal in that way, they kind of already are. Legalizing of illicit drugs.
Like if you go buy cocaine over the counter or something like that.
Up through the 50s, you could order it from Sears. You get your syringe and everything. You could look it up.
That's crazy.
Will it reduce crime? Yeah, that's like, I can't, I have to say no. Right
My
now.
kind of take is because then you're not arresting drug dealers, and then that would kind of force our country to actually deal with addiction as a disease as opposed to dealing with it as a behavioral problem. It's not a behavioral
If it's
problem.
sold over the counter, then I'm gonna say definitely it will not, But if it's sold through a pharmacy,
Yeah,
that's a
what I
little
mean.
different. Like if it was prescribed, then I'm gonna say yeah, it would reduce crime. So it's kind of like two different ways,
Right.
depending on how.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think until they infiltrated yoga and meditation, things of that nature as an extracurricular study, that no one knew how to. I never knew how to deal with stress or anxiety.
Right.
I'd see one parent light up a cigarette, another parent down a beer. No one ever taught me this is how you deal with stuff.
Right.
This
Next
I
question.
saw from example. This is how you deal with stuff.
No, it wasn't just.
We're just messing with
Yeah,
you.
no, we weren't even messing with you. It was like because he's doing an interview, so it's like
Oh,
we
whoops.
could get off track so easily,
Okay.
and we already
Off
are,
track
and we'll be here
That's
until
not so
7:25.
bad. I'm as bad as this is. I am at bowling.
No, you're not.
Okay.
But it's good we can talk about these things so freely.
Absolutely.
No, not a lot of people can or will.
I think if they just had kept pot the way it was and not made such a big damn deal out of it, people wouldn't be all hooked on other kinds of stuff. That's what I think.
I think it's a third
So-
question.
Yeah. Next question is Okay, so this is also a little bit of a tricky one. Do you think legalization of drug use will increase or decrease addiction?
It'll increase. That's my opinion. It'll increase.
I think if we look at addiction, it's 10% of the population has quote unquote alcoholic or addictive mindset or whatever.
And that's
So
very loose.
my opinion is like if we legalize drugs, it's gonna be the same amount of addiction. There might be a little bit more drug use because it's more accessible.
Okay.
But just kind of your opinion on that.
I'm gonna say definitely yes because it's gonna be more available to people. So there's gonna be more addiction problems.
You think someone's gonna get in grandma's medicine cabinet and have fun?
I don't know. I can't speak out on that. What's your answer on that though?
I think we should at least try it
Is it gonna?
to see if it
no,
would
I didn't-
decrease. Because
he's asking you, do you think it'll increase or decrease addiction? Yes or no?
I think it would decrease.
Decrease it.
Eventually. At first
Yeah,
there would
at
be
first,
that
right.
boom of, oh man, this person is
Shit's
that and that
legal, I
person
get
is.
it, right.
Let's watch everybody as they head out to CVS, you know?
Right.
But eventually,
I kind of agree with you. Yeah.
because it would be monitored, it would be stuff fentanyl free. It'd be
Yep.
stuff without that flock of shit
People
in
aren't
it
gonna
that
be
people are bringing up
overdosing.
from Florida.
You don't hear people dying from ibuprofen, so if that shit is, people aren't gonna be dying from heroin at the same rate as they are. It's an epidemic right now, the opiate epidemic. People are.
Are you? Oh, you're.
Yeah. We're almost done here.
No, I'm not. I'm just. This is recording it, so all your answers are being recorded.
Oh, it's fine, man. I'm not worried about it.
He's not even gonna edit.
No, I'm not going to.
He's
I'm
gonna
not.
show it real.
Sorry, David. I'm not editing this. My last question is, there's a lot of opinions on addiction, and a lot of different methods. What can we do from a criminal justice standpoint to kind of start rehabilitating people as opposed to imprisoning them, and start treating this like a disease? You know?
My thought is they need to do an MHA right away. They got to do a mental health examination and find out if there's underlying physical causes. I don't know how many people I met in the city where they're schizo. Like, I don't mean that in a bad way. They're literally schizophrenic and they're either poorly managed or not managed at all. So what do? They go out and try to take care of things on their own.
Right, self-medicate.
Yes.
Right.
Criminal justice standpoint, kind of like what she just said, which is like when they first grab them, but kind of like what they're doing now. Like instead of locking people up, some of them belong in a mental institution, some of them just belong in a rehab.
Yeah.
They don't belong in jail with all the other criminals, killers, and murderers, where they're just going to learn how to be a better criminal or even be introduced to harder drugs.
Right.
So kind of what they're doing and increase that also.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say education-wise, and like
Definitely, man.
Sue said about the cops being educated on it too, instead of just out there to grab the bad guy and get a point. It's
Yeah, 'cause
not.
You look like a dirtbag when you're out. You've been smoking crack
Yeah.
and shooting
And that's
for
society's
you look
view.
like a dirtbag, so
And that's society's view on it.
uneducated,
You know, you're a scumbag,
right.
you're a crackhead, you're drunk, you're a dope fiend, whatever.
You don't look sick. You just look fucking like
Yeah, they go with what they see, you know,
Right.
and they see that shit all the time, all day long. So, you know.
But for them to differentiate between just a plain old psycho addict and somebody that's suffering from an actual disease of body, mind, spirit. I'm not saying they need to be priests. Of course, there's chaplains there that could help with, them saying, look, and to even have, like Mike was saying, I've never been in jail. I volunteered there before, but to have separate wings or blocks that are for people, okay, you're nonviolent, you're suffering.
They have that.
But how well does it work?
Well, that's why I said they got to increase that, kind of with what they got now, and increase it and educate as they go. Because right now it's just looking, oh, he did this, he's a drunk, or this guy's nuts, and that's why he's using drugs, or he's whatever,
Right.
But I know that I am not a violent criminal. I have a long rap sheet. I did state time in New York. I did state time in Connecticut. Yet I am not a violent criminal. I've been around rapists, murderers, killers,
right.
in a cell with them,
ridiculous.
and I did not really belong with them. And let me tell you, it's like going to ghetto, gangster fucking university college. Like,
Yeah,
what the
man.
fuck,
It
So-
definitely doesn't treat the problem.
Yeah.
If anything,
No.
it makes the problem.
Like, when things get ugly, I could get real fucking ghetto and gangster on someone real fast, and you would never think that of me.
Right.
But you do that in order to live, survive.
Right, you have
Right.
to.
Kind of.
You have to.
But yeah, I didn't belong in there with those violent criminals and shit. I never fucking killed no one or maimed nobody or
Crazy.
raped a woman or whatever.
And that you're there in that same cell.
Yeah, living with them 24/7.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. I think that about wraps it up. Unless you guys want to close with anything.
That was all the questions? Just those?
Yeah, we're all set, guys. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.